Barbara Brindle.
Hey, and welcome.
Oh, we got the 20 seconds. I'm so confused.
Well, I can see us on the screen, welcome to another episode of How Did You Get There? A show about thoughts, where we discuss thoughts, ideas, opinions, and beliefs. And we're critical of those things, but not necessarily the people who hold them.
The opinions we're sharing today are ours, and today maybe our guests as well. But we'll take full responsibility for anything that's expressed. Please do not blame Jess, Jess FM, Jess TV, other producers on the station. It's us. And
arbitrary people named Jess.
That's right.
Just don't blame them, especially, because they have nothing to do with
it. Just poor girl walking down the street.
Jess!
What?
What do those guys say on TV?
Yeah, that'd be awesome. So today, I'm going to get this, because Dad threw the McCaugherty at me. So now it's all wrong in my head. Don McCaugherty, is that correct?
Yes.
Very good.
Yeah.
And so the reason I've invited her here today is a wealth of experience in theater. She chose to move to Lethbridge. And also I want to promote a really cool show that's going on right now that she's been a really important factor. So first, hi.
Hi.
And welcome to the studio.
Thank you.
Immediately, I want to say, why Lethbridge? I mean, I know why I live here.
That's I warned. But why Lethbridge? Yeah, what brings you to Lethbridge?
I grew up here.
Well, there you go.
Yeah.
What brings you back?
Family. Retirement, family, coming back home after many, many years away. I grew up on a farm just west of Lethbridge in the Oakland River bottom. And I left home to go to university at the University of Victoria when I was probably 19, and then moved back here 2 years ago. So in the intervening years, I lived a lot of other places. But yeah.
And so what did you... I came through to you because you showed up to one of my Shakespeare performances and you tracked down who is in charge of such things. And
who's in charge of this mess?
Well,
but not like that.
To an extent. And you saw something that inspired you to, hey, maybe I can lend something to this.
Yeah, there's a bit of a story to that. So when I retired from the University of Calgary, just prior to COVID, my timing was excellent.
Yeah.
I decided that I was not going to be doing any more theater. So I gave away 90% of my theater resource books, and I had vast numbers of them, to move down here. And I thought I would never be doing anything again, especially Shakespeare. And then I came to your show last summer, and I loved the energy and the enthusiasm and the joy of it. People seemed to be having a really good time. And I noticed in the program that it said that you were looking for a director for the 2025 season. So I mulled it over for weeks before I sent in an application. And the reason I sent in an application is really that when I got started in theater here when I was 12, 13 years old, going to junior high school in town, and started going to Joan Waterfield's youth theater.
Yeah.
Yes, we all know Joan.
Yeah.
She was a war bride.
Right, yes, amongst many other things. Yeah, and Joan, she poured her heart into this group of misfit kids, right? There were maybe anywhere between a dozen and 20 of us who worked with her for at least 3 years, and would meet almost weekly and do little theater projects, do exercises. She'd give us scene work to do. She'd get us involved in ushering or taking tickets or doing things for Lethbridge Musical Theatre or playgoers. She had us very involved, and she really laid an enormous foundation for love of theater, community theater, working together, working hard. Joan was a hard taskmaster. She set her standards very high. And I have always felt that that my career, what I did with my life came out of the time that I spent with Joan. So I thought, well, I'm kind of at the other end of the spectrum now. And I've done a lot of work in theater and in Shakespeare, and maybe I can pay something back to Lethbridge, to the community that I've moved back to. So that was what led me to do it. That and thinking that it would be fun. So, and productive.
So how's that going for you?
Has it been fun and productive enough?
It's been both of those things.
No pressure.
I think we've had a ride in rehearsals.
Absolutely.
Rehearsals have been so much fun. There's been so much give and take. I think we have a phenomenal company of actors. We have people with years of experience like you, Jeff, to people, at least two people who have never done a show before and are in their 30s, right?
So I was in the audience on Friday night.
I prompted a question at you, didn't I?
Said, which two performers have never done shows before? And I could not pick them out. I have no idea.
Yeah.
I could tell. I knew for sure which ones had done shows before. I've done I think I did a show with Ash. I'm going to say 20 years ago, but
yeah, could have been.
No offense, Ash.
Yeah, well, just remember them as being a tremendous performer then.
Yeah.
And then never saw them since, and then now it's like, oh.
And that's
the exact same. That's the exact same powerful actor that I'd seen before. So
yeah. It's the company. We had 24 people audition for 16 roles, and I was like, I don't know if we're going to find people to cover these roles when we have so few and 16 roles, and every single person has stepped up. And been great to work with, fun to work with, committed. It's been amazing.
I don't think Wang has been on stage either. Like I keep thinking of Connor and Jordan as the absolute rookies on stage, but I don't think a number of our performers have done last year's show, and then how did they put it to me? This is the first secular play I've done, right? So then that's a different style. It's you're a different actor in a musical, you're a different actor in Shakespeare, you're the same actor. It's a different performance. But then the religious plays are definitely a different level of performance as well.
Yeah, and if we were to talk about the people in the show who have never done Shakespeare before, I haven't taken account of that, but I think there's very few that have done Shakespeare before.
It's just, I think the handful of us that are the return trippers, really.
And Carson.
Unless you, because the post-secondary training.
Yes, yeah.
I've never done Shakespeare.
There you go.
I've been doing theater for
30
plus years. Never done Shakespeare.
Yeah.
I've done, I've done knockoff Shakespeare. Yeah. Pick I've done West Side Story, which is just knockoff Shakespeare. Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Otherwise known as an adaptation.
Kate. That's okay. I also call symphony orchestras cover bands. Because most of them don't write their own original music.
No, it's true.
That'd be the best concert band ever. Only original work. New studio album dropped from the Philharmonic.
I haven't done Shakespeare. I've been to drunk Shakespeare a couple of times. That's a whole other art form.
I don't know about that.
Oh, go ahead.
Oh, drunk Shakespeare.
This is a concept that I'm scared to try, but would love to try. So
the Drunk Shakespeare Company.
Where does that exist?
Fringe festivals a lot.
Okay.
But also they have in Chicago they have like a permanent theater, and they run 4 nights a week.
Wow.
And they do three shows a year. Chicago's got a good population base, and the theater's not huge, but it seats it might seat 100 people, and it's in benches, and
the premise
the premise is they do an adaptation of Shakespeare, holding as much of it as they can and we did, I think the one that we saw was Hamlet, and one performer per night, whoever gets the short straw
has to get drunk.
gets hammered. Hammered. Now I've seen it in 2 different ways. The one in Chicago, it starts with everybody's sober, and the the lucky soul for the day, gets 4 shots of tequila. Now, to be fair, to make sure the audience is well aware that there's 5 tequila shots on the tray, and an audience member is given free choice to pick one of them.
Right.
Right? Yep. And it's not water. So yeah, and so then as things go along, there's a king and a queen for the event, and at any point they can call a Shakespeare check, where they make sure that the person is doing okay, and if they're still too sober, they get to drink more. And so this poor guy, he's going through, and he's just getting more and more drunk as he's trying to do this show. And by his second sobriety check, he was tasked with a soliloquy not from this show.
That he has to have memorized?
That he had to have memorized.
Oh, wow.
And while drunk, deliver it.
Oh, wow.
And it was great. He did a marvelous job. I mean, everybody's got to have a party piece, and that must be his. It was great. So that's the one formulation. The other one was that I saw in Scotland at the Fringe Festival. Same setup, only it's a reduced cast. So that was also a reduced cast, but this was like 5.
You can't convince 16 people to participate every time.
5 or 6 players and a compere who sort of manages everything and makes sure that somebody in the front row has a bucket, just in case. Beforehand, the selected performer, and they cycle through so that everybody gets a chance to sober up for a week, consumes an unhealthy amount of alcohol beforehand, so they are drunk as it starts.
Just one person.
Just one person. Everybody else is sober and carrying the weight.
Trying to.
That's the closing night game now.
Yeah, the show we
Hope not in Shakespeare here.
No,
after closing.
Yeah.
We just try and do it again. We just get somebody. We'll get Achilles really drunk.
Oh my!
And then try and wrangle that.
Yeah. So we saw Romeo and Juliet, and it was and Juliet was the poor sap, and she's got the bit with the dagger, and the comparer's like, no, you can't have the dagger today. And she's up in the balcony, and he's like, oh, I'm so hot. Just completely out of character, so hot, starts taking off her clothes. No, honey, you gotta leave those. But everybody else has to play it straight, on the script, carrying the weight of everything, and just as little ad-lib as possible to keep the story on track. So that's my
Shakespeare.
Yeah,
and coming to see us.
And coming to see you, and one TikTok where I learned how Romeo and Juliet fits in dynamic pentameter, because you don't pronounce it that way.
Correct. You learn about feminine endings and such.
But like Romeo and Juliet. Mm-hmm. Then it fits in the iambic pentameter, and I go, oh, that makes perfect sense. I wish I'd studied this ever, and I hadn't.
That was first year college when we were working right out of the folios with Romeo and Juliet.
Juliet?
Yeah, because no J's, no U's.
Oh, yes.
Although they're doing, so we've chosen a show that you have done before.
I have actually done it.
It is not a well-known show.
No, not at all.
So what is it that you like about this show, that this is your 5th time directing this show?
No, it's my 4th time, but I acted in it. I played Jacanetta when I was in university as an undergrad. So it is my 5th time working on the show. I keep coming back to this show, I think, for the situation, because it can have a very young cast. Mm-hmm. You can have a young cast, and I knew that in community theater here in Lethbridge, it was going to be mostly young people who auditioned.
Or mostly ancient people.
No, I didn't have many ancient people at all who auditioned. I didn't have any. So young people, it's fun. it's accessible, I think. Although some people get lost in the language, but that's part of the point of this show, that you get lost. Like, you shouldn't understand everything Holofernes says. You should not. You should
I barely do under my life.
Yeah. So
I thought it was brilliant.
Yeah.
Like, where has this been my whole life? Why don't they teach us this in high school?
It's fun, hey? It's fun. But nothing happens in this show. Nothing really happens. There's not any plot to speak of, other than boy meets girl, boy falls for girl, boy loses girl, right?
Mm-hmm.
And that's it. So it's an early sitcom.
Yeah, and like that's not. It wasn't lost on me that the entirety of the play takes place in 24 hours.
24 hours. Yeah.
Yep.
24 hours, and in that it's perfect for the time period. It's Aristotelian, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and it's one of Shakespeare's early plays, so he's not very masterful yet in terms of writing. He's not dealing with the big ideas of Hamlet or whatever. It's just social comedy.
Everybody draws stick figures when they're learning to draw.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
Talking with Rachel about this, we feel like that Holofernes is actually just his being disgruntled with the job he currently had to make a living, right? He's teaching kids Latin. He's sick of Latin.
Yeah.
He's teaching kids.
Yeah.
So the character I have has all these like hard Latin phrases, right? Where you're just like, why is he saying there might be something mysterious going on, but in Latin, so no one else knows.
Yeah.
I just have to deliver the line like that's what it means.
Yeah.
And for sure, that's just Shakespeare being like, this is stupid.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
So it's a fun show, and I've come to this directing at this time. I feel that every time you work with a show, you're working with the people in the show. And I knew I wanted to set it contemporarily, but I also knew that I wanted to play with a comedy. So Ash and I and Rachel spent a lot of time in the fall meeting and discussing the play and talking about the history of the play and the themes of the play and all of that. And out of that, I knew that I wanted the comic characters to have an identity that was separate from the nobility. And I thought, vaudeville. It just came to me, like I was thinking circus, like going to freak shows, no vaudeville. And then I thought, I want music. And then in walked Brenton to rehearsals, and if he hadn't walked in, I don't know what we would have done, because he has done a masterful job of putting all the vaudevillian stuff together and making it work within the play and inspire you guys all to learn it and do it.
His song selections too, like I'm confident you left that up to him, and he's like, this I think presents what we're presenting. And
the only song I chose was the curtain call song, because I love Ain't We Got Fun.
Yeah. Oh, cool.
Yeah.
I used to sing in a barbershop quartet and barbershop chorus, so I was like, oh, I know all these songs.
Yeah.
Although I know you might have been tempted to sing a flat seventh anywhere.
Yeah, I would have liked to have had a little more in the tenor high harmony there.
Or solid bass.
Yeah, but I
was good. Like that's the thing.
We're good at the voices you have, right?
Oh, exactly. I have no complaints about it. It's just like, oh wow, this is great. And if they were going to be a barbershop quartet at some point, I know where we would go.
Yeah, yeah.
But it was absolutely perfect for the event. And I think, and I mean, maybe this shows my lack of Shakespearean experience, but it seems to me that Shakespeare really did write, eventually, maybe originally, for 2 levels of audience.
Oh, totally.
All the
Three. He was writing for the Queen, or the monarch.
Yeah.
He was writing for the people who were educated, and he was writing for the people who flooded the pit and crowded into the pit.
Yep.
I have a little story about that. When I went to the story.
It's a great story. I'm excited.
When I went to London and I went to the Globe Theatre, a friend of mine who was a lawyer for Disney was arranging tickets for us to go see. I think it was Winter's Tale. And so I arrived, and I'm very excited to go. And she said, "So I can't go with you today. I have a work thing." Okay. She said, "Where are the tickets?" And she said, "Well, we're way up in in the top, and she said, I know you're a teacher, so you don't earn much money, so I got the cheap tickets, which immediately offended me. But off I go to sit in my seat, which is, because the Globe is like a circular building, and the stage is at one end of the circular building, and the audience kind of envelops it, and the pit is in front of the stage where everybody stands and watches it.
The thralls.
Yeah. And there's 3 levels of seating, and the seating goes all the way from the right at the back of the stage around to the front. So I think she must have got the very cheapest seats. So I was sitting on the 3rd level of seating, right next to the back wall. When I looked down, I was straight down, I was looking at that upmost upstage edge.
Oh my.
And I realized, watching from that point, that I know one of the reasons that all the apprentices loved to be up there watching the theatre if they could pay for the upper seats, because when they looked down, they were looking down everybody's bodices. Now, someone pointed out, yes, but those weren't women, and I thought, yeah, but the audience is there too.
Yeah.
Right?
Exactly. It's every balcony below.
Everything.
Yeah.
Not just the players.
Yes, and then I moved down to watch from the pit for the second part after the intermission, and it was just amazing to stand in the pit and have that experience and see how he's really writing. So much of what he's writing is like the actors speaking directly to the audience, engaging them, and there's this conversation back and forth. And at that time, they wouldn't have hesitated to like throw things on the stage. I don't think.
If they were unhappy.
Yeah, but there'd be some sort of reaction to what they were seeing. So it's a very vibrant. It's a vibrant thing. And when we put it in proscenium theater, and we had curtains and staging and costumes and lights and everything, that tends to separate it, which is not a bad thing. Can have fabulous Shakespeare that way, but it's so great to bring it back to daytime performances right there.
Well, there's something else that you like. A thing we're trying this year versus most years to keep it close between the audience and the performer is you've removed the technology, right?
Yes.
We went away from the microphones this year.
Yeah.
I really appreciated that.
Yeah.
It was. I have always found that short of a $50,000 or $75,000 sound budget, the sound is more distracting than no sound. Right. Every time, especially in an outdoor performance, when the wind catches a mic and I hear instead of a line, I would rather not hear a line than hear that noise. Like, or to be that is really annoying to listen to. So just do or do not, I guess.
Yeah.
I mean, when I started doing musical theater, when I was schooling, we didn't have mic. Nobody was mic'd.
Yes.
So,
Exactly.
so there's a pit orchestra, literally in a pit, so they can be quiet enough, and we're
Competing with trumpets.
We're competing with trumpets. They're being as quiet as they can. We're being as loud as we can.
I want to let you know, as a trumpet player, we're not being as quiet.
Well, in the show, in most of the shows that I did, probably they were because
they're professionals. Whatever.
John Reed was the conductor for the first musical show. Did Jesus Christ Superstar?
Oh, nice.
And it was. I guess the first one was Evita. Yeah. Also a good show. But just like the pit's in there and just like, and I'm trying to make my voice heard to the back of the University Theater over top of all of this, and you learn projection, you learn those things. Like I didn't have the benefits of theater training. He says, looking at the actual trained theater people.
It helps. Actually, you know what helps me a lot is the military training I received.
Oh,
right?
Yeah.
Because I need to be heard 2 parade squares away, and I need to be heard all day long.
yeah.
So it's no point in yelling at these people.
Yeah.
There's a great point in projecting at these people.
Yeah.
So it's the same level. You just don't get the experience, the physics behind it, the biomechanics of it, right? Where you're teaching something like, if you work on these jaw muscles, don't do it too much because they'll just start fighting you, right? sure, right? I didn't know. I just take people's word for it on stuff like that because it makes total sense to me, right?
Mm-hmm.
But as just a young parade person and yelling at somebody, hey, get out, right? Then you don't worry about if my vocal cords are open. You just have this thing that you project without hurting yourself, right?
Yeah, so I really did appreciate that. There were places where I really wanted to lean in.
Yep.
Oh, sorry, I didn't want to lean in, but leaned in anyway.
Yeah.
And and I blame the buses for that.
Or the wind.
Well, the wind wasn't bad on Friday night. The buses were the biggest culprit.
We had a lot of wind on Thursday in the Gall Gardens.
Yeah.
So it was a challenge. But my feeling about this is like, I had hoped to do, because I'm a voice teacher for actors as well, right? That's been my career from the beginning. So I have a lot of experience in helping actors learn the biomechanics of it so that they can put their voices in the right place, their voices so that they carry. And I had hoped that we would have more time during rehearsal to do that, but we just ran out of time. We had a show to do. So we did some of that work early on. We did some of it in the middle. We did some of it. We're doing some of it in the warm-ups before. I'm meeting with a couple of people on Wednesday night to do a little more, just to give them a little more confidence. But yeah, I forget where I was going with this. But it's not rocket science. Like, you can learn to do that. It just takes some time.
It's not rocket surgery.
Rocket surgery. Yeah.
Actually, I have a textbook called Rocket Surgery. It's about user interface design.
Nice.
There you go, crazy guys.
But
I was making the comparison in that, like, you could go look at somebody's beautiful watercolor and it's a beautiful painting and you can see the layers, or someone could put a piece of glass in front of that and you could try and you'll see the painting and you'll get an experience of it, but you're not looking at it, right? So I think that's where the removal of the microphone plays.
It does.
The same way. It's looking at the painting without the glass, right?
Yeah, and that's where $75,000 worth of sound technology works. Is you get beautiful hairline mics with great pickup and a backup mic that's not always on, and somebody sitting there with fingers on all the dials, making sure that it sounds as if they were microphone
before you go to the bathroom.
Yeah, right. That's always great. Yeah, but the idea should not be to replace projection, but to support projection.
Yes.
Right?
To sound balance.
Yes. Yeah. So actually that means that as actors, you have to know how to work with a mic. Right?
Yes, and that is yet another skill.
It is. It's a whole other
I make my sound people figure it out. I'm gonna go the volume I need to fill the space. They can just turn my mic down.
Yeah.
like that's how I treat that
That's
situation.
how I treat the situation too.
I could be totally wrong on my mic use, but that's until shown otherwise.
But last year when I came to see the show and it was mic'd, there were people that were counting on the mic to fill the space and they weren't filling it themselves. And then I thought, oh, this is really imbalanced, because we have someone like you who fills the space and then gets mic'd and then gets really powerful, and we have someone else who's counting on the mic to do the work for them, and then they disappear. So this way nobody disappears. Or they disappear and you go, oh, wind, oh, bus, oh, whatever.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm excited about that. It's been exciting.
Yeah. Oh, we're about halfway through.
We are about halfway through.
Well,
the first half hour just goes flying. I can't really tell because, just a little past. Hey, if you're just tuning in now, you've tuned into How Did You Get There? Our guest today is Don McCaugherty.
Yep.
Got it right in one. And we're talking some things about theater, and I don't know, what else do you want to talk about? We can talk about anything.
Talk about anything. We talked about coming back to Lethbridge.
Talking about Lethbridge.
Talked about theater, talked about directing. Yeah, and why the show choice. Would be, I'm just always curious about this. What do you think is the worst Shakespeare play?
Of all the Shakespeare that you know.
Ones that well, not that we've all memorized all of them, but maybe we've read one and you're like, I could never mount this.
It's such a personal thing, right? When I did my graduate degree, we had to do Timon of Athens. And I acted in Timon of Athens. I didn't have fun. I don't like that play much, but other people loved it, right? I admire the language and the ideas and all of that in Hamlet, but Hamlet is not a play that I really care about personally, because Hamlet is all about, for me, the male experience. And so it doesn't ring for me in the way that it rings for other people. So yeah, I don't really have a worst play. It's just that some of them.
There's ones that don't speak to you.
Yes.
You're less like no desire to direct Hamlet because.
No, or Time of Athens.
Yeah.
No.
yeah.
I love Macbeth, and I love Macbeth. Fell in love with it in high school actually, but yeah.
When we did that here, I again because of the history stuff, like where's Navarre? Well, it's no, actually, I know where Navarre was, and those things, right? So same when we did Macbeth with our company. I was like, did you guys know, right? I have these kind of history bites for people. That
Yes.
The actual Macbeth, super nice guy.
Yeah.
People loved him. His wife, probably the last of the Pictish queens, right? Which was like a huge part of the society at the time. They're mystical, they're magical, but yeah, no, it was
witches.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's the incorporation, and then it's fun to throw those actual contexts in there where that's how you know writing for the Queen, right? Scottish bad.
Yeah.
Right? Like when it's interesting. Had a great English teacher.
I was on vacation in Italy after a conference, and we went to Verona.
Ooh.
Didn't see any gentlemen.
Aww.
But we did get to see a balcony and an overly fondled bronze statue of Juliet.
Yeah, there's one shiny spot on
Yeah,
statue.
and it's like I am not gonna go get my picture taken clutching at Juliet. That just seems.
Well, given that we know the age of Juliet, it seems super inappropriate.
Super bad. But we went on a little tour of the with the balcony and all the. It was a cool courtyard.
Is that Green Gables house in Prince Edward
It is exactly that. It's
I went to the real place of an imaginary person.
The real place of an imaginary person.
I've done that.
And it's fine. But it was as I was going through the streets, I was like, I could see where you could set any of these plays here, but I don't think that Shakespeare ever went there.
Yeah, no.
Like he was just telling tales of this place a long ways away. It'd be like me writing.
Yes.
Be a lot like me writing about something happening in. Trying to pick a major city I've not been to.
Johannesburg.
Johannesburg, yeah. I could set a play in Johannesburg, sure. And 500 years from now, nobody will know that I was never there. But today, I better be making a caricature of it.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
I find that interesting too, like his incorporation of the New World, or how little it even gets mentioned. Like because I live in it, consider it a big important part of history, but people living at the time were like, yeah, maybe.
Yeah, maybe like some people don't believe we ever walked on the moon.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I feel like that's actually the case. Like, sure, you went a long ways away.
Yeah, and we brought tobacco back. What's that?
Yeah, chocolate.
What am I? Sorry, Walt. What am I supposed to do with it?
Yeah.
That's funny.
Oh, Bob Newhart.
Comedic genius.
Yeah.
Timing is everything.
It's interesting though, like just thinking about it now, like he wasn't writing plays about all the trade that was going on in the English Empire and all of that. He was writing plays about what happened in society at that moment. So the different characters and making fun of professions, talking about Spanish like Spaniards, where the Spaniard in the play is someone who's not trusted not because of Navarre and Spain, but because of the Spanish Armada trying to defeat the English Navy, right? Like, so he's taking very contemporary viewpoints of all of these things, but he's using old stories and basing it on old stories that he's read or histories.
That's the one thing that caught me off guard and I would not have seen was it's Don Armado. It's a Spanish character, and you pointed out, well, because we're making fun of the Armada. And I was like, that would have went past me.
Yeah.
So good.
Yeah.
I wonder, it strikes me that of the comedies, all one of them with 45 different names.
You did see 90 Minutes.
I did see 90 Minutes.
So, the one where there's twins in a shipwreck. And, it's all of them.
With the comedies, they are farcical. Like in some actual really measured, they are the police squad of the day.
Well, you know where that comes from. Commedia dell'arte comes from Italian commedia dell'arte, and I guess they would have been like the Saturday Night Live of their time, right?
Yeah.
That they're making fun of everything. They're doing bits. They're comic bits. Each character had their comic bits.
Yep.
And caricatured for sure.
Yes,
right?
caricatured. Yeah.
Like Pulcinella, right? Or El Dottore, right?
Yep.
They're all very bigger characters.
Yeah.
I mean, everyone can understand Arlecchino. Well, he's the jokester.
Yeah.
But the pronounced features, everything to make sure that is the character we're doing.
Yeah.
And it's so interesting. Like, I'm not a theater history buff, but it's so interesting to think of in our Western theater, how that has come, like even from the ancient Greeks who had their comedy, that they were doing the same thing, like the Birds, where they were playing up certain comic characteristics, and it kind of filters through to every culture in the Western world and to the theater of today and the television of today and the film of today.
Even the fact that theater today, right, comes from there. I've done 2 shows within the last few years that used periactoid. Right? Which, I know that's a fancy thing. That's just like basically the Greeks who were like, instead of us like resetting the stage every time we have a new scene, we could just flip this wall around.
Yeah.
Yep.
And so I've seen like 3-sided ones now, and but like,
well, we had that
parts of theater stay the same.
Our little improv theater company, our little Jabberwock theater troupe. We did a lot of that.
Yes. Yeah.
We had like fold up screens to just dash behind or turn around or throw something over and just.
Yeah, we sort of skirted the edge between scripted improv, a little bit of dell'arte, a little bit of slapstick.
Yeah. Amazing thing about theater, right? It can be very verisimilitude. You can get like actual reality on stage. Trying for that.
Like Lion King.
Yeah. Sorry, I fell for that when I said yes. To like the totally symbolic or abstract, and people's imaginations fill it in.
I kind of like the latter when I'm building a show. I like to make my audience uncomfortable. I want them to be thinking throughout the play. Yeah. As well as because they're enjoying it, right? Like not just to hit them with a line early on and make them just go, what did he just say? I need them to like come along on this crazy journey with me, right?
To enjoy it so much, to be so invested in the show, in the play, that they leave exhausted and satisfied.
Yeah. Or even with a question like, how come it ended there? Is that the end?
We ran out of writing.
Yeah. And they don't have to like it.
Oh no!
Right?
Goodness.
You don't have to like theater to have gained something from it. A piece. I mean.
Yeah, I look at it as like I really like movies. The cinema is quite enjoyable to me, and I will watch virtually any movie, and my rating is was it worth the money I spent to go see it? And only one movie did I ever go see, and I blotted it from my mind mostly, did I come out saying, I would not only like my money back, but I would also like to be paid for the 2 hours I spent in this theater. like that's how bad it was. I got almost nothing out of it. But then you go see something like, Nicolas Cage, The Unbearable Weight of Massive Talent.
Oh, I haven't seen that.
Oh, it's a delight.
Okay.
It's a Nicolas Cage movie about Nicolas Cage.
Nicolas Cage, yeah.
Starring Nicolas Cage in all his forms.
in everything he's ever done before.
Everything
gets presented, and the guy he plays against.
Very popular today.
Yes, I want to say Pablo, but it isn't. He's fabulous. He's in like.
Yep, and his name just.
Walking Dead. Walking Dead the day after.
He'll come back, and he plays. Doesn't he play Reed Richards now in the new Fantastic Four?
Yes. He's so good. And
Pedro Pascal.
Yeah, Pedro Pascal. He's so
brilliant.
And yeah,
and the movie, and Nick Cage is a film buff. He loves his films, and as we were watching this, we're going, well, Wes Anderson was here, and but only for a minute. Yeah. It was like just 1 minute of pure Wes Anderson. I was like, yep. and then had this new scene in a whole new direction, and it was just like, and I would love to be able. I appreciate that about film, that you can do that and change because you can stop and reset.
Yeah.
When things like that happen, solidly in the theater, I think that's just insanely good.
I agree.
And
like to pull off a legit homage without betraying the text of the show.
Yeah.
Yeah, like maybe someday we'll get like a Busby Berkeley Julius Caesar.
Yeah.
And the swimming pool and the whole thing, and just like diving in and mirror up ahead so the audience gets the whole overhead experience of the
same idea. Just a scene. You just need a scene.
Just one scene.
Yeah. You know, I when I was 12 years old, we spent several months in England, and that was when Doctor Who was first coming out in England.
Yep.
So I saw the first season of Doctor Who. Never left me, right? It made an indelible impression. But there was a series on BBC called The Prisoner. Have you seen that? Ran for one season.
Where he's like on the island?
He's on the island.
And the big ball.
Yeah.
And the big ball.
You are number 6. And I've never seen it before.
Yeah, but that I saw when I was 12 years old, and I had never seen it since, but it has always remained with me for all those things we're just talking about. Stylistically, all the things it brought together from current things that were going on, and I've rediscovered it. I think I don't know if it's on Amazon or Prime, but it's there in its entirety, and I'm watching it again. It's so exciting, that kind of work.
Yeah.
If I'm correct, this is retired spies, and what do we do with them? We put them on this island.
Yeah.
And so they are the prisoners. And then they get ranked.
But you're making it a lot more sensible than it actually is.
Oh, yeah, for sure. I mean, I had to make it so I understood it. So why are they all there?
Yeah.
How come they can't leave?
Yeah.
It's an island.
It's an island. Yeah.
The giant ball.
Yep, I find that amazing too. They always make us swim for it and it never works out for them.
Yeah. Oh, like Gilligan's Island.
Yes.
Oh.
Now that's so.
The professor was the one trying to keep them there.
But I mean, and I would like to point out when they had a problem, they didn't consult the billionaire. They consulted the professor.
Society, listen up.
Just saying, sorry, millionaire. What was in that show though was it the musical version?
Oh yes.
Of Hamlet.
Oh.
Yeah.
There's an episode
where
they mounted a musical Hamlet.
Because of course the million.
To be. That is the question that I ask of thee.
Yes, because apparently Thurston Howell also traveled with his entire classical record collection.
Yes.
And so they made
some Broadway producer washed up on the island.
Yeah, and they made a phonograph out of coconuts, and it was like. Yeah, it was Shakespeare set to Carmen, I think.
Well, because there was we did 90 minutes, and I had to come out and neither a borrower nor a lender.
Neither a borrower nor a lender be.
That line out without singing it this way. Because of that episode, I would have been like 8 when I first saw that.
Yep.
And so you sang it in this production?
No, it took everything not to.
Why couldn't you?
I carried a lot of bass weight and stuff. Young new director didn't want to scare her off with too much instinct.
It would have excited so many in the audience that recognized that.
True, but niche joke.
Yes.
But still, if I hit
love
one,
niche
if I hit one, maybe it's all worth it. Like if I would have done it and you were in the house, you'd have been like, oh, call that, kill yourself.
Yeah. Well, I mean, niche jokes like, warning people that something terrible might be afoot, but doing it in a language where they would never understand it. Who would ever do a niche joke like that?
Exactly.
Oh, Shakespeare.
Il precor galida quando caces omnia sabundra ruminat. Right?
That is brilliant English Latin.
It is.
Not Latin.
No. Our closer Latin is the video et godeo. Because if we're doing non-ecclesiastical Latin, our V's are W's.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, Vidi Vici.
Is actually Weenie Weedy Wiki.
Yeah.
Which sounds hilarious. So I think it was only. So I think it was only Nathaniel and I that went with the classical Latin, and again Rachel, and her 3 years of Latin.
Yes, and 3 years of Latin.
So she probably does well in Latin America.
Yes. All the Mexicos.
Dan Quayle. Sorry, didn't mean to cut you off.
No, that's fine. I was just going to say that one of our little mottos on one of our pieces of promo is Navarre, where the Latin is loose.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, I really enjoyed that production. I really enjoyed that performance of that production. I really enjoyed. I don't know that I necessarily enjoyed the play itself.
That's like
But that's-
Manuel.
I just never encountered it, and so I didn't have a lot of time for my brain to also think about because
What story is it telling?
Nothing. There's
I know, as it turns out, you took away what we presented.
perfect. Well, and there's nothing wrong with that.
No.
I have seen a number of shows that the point of the show is the show.
Yeah.
That's a nice way to put it.
Yeah, the point of the show is come and be entertained, like the Minecraft movie or something.
Yeah.
Although I think there's a lot more layer to it. Title of show, which is a very self-serving, self-referential musical, written by two guys about two guys writing a musical, and these other two girls who are in the show, who they write into the show, who are in the show, who are also singing about being in the musical that they're in.
What's the name of that?
Title of show.
Oh, title of show.
Like in brackets as a placeholder name.
Right. Okay. Title of show. Gotcha.
They have a song called Title of Show, which is the first song in the show that occurs a few songs in, where they sing the title of the show in the song called Title of Show. Because, like, quite often you get musicals like Rent.
Yeah.
And then they sing along and then they say the name of the show. Or Hamilton. They sing, and then they say the name of the title of the show. It's a big Broadway trope.
Yep.
So they just wrote a Broadway show called Title of Show.
Never singing about the title of the show.
And they sing about doing their opening night, and they sing about being on tour, and then they sing about how are they going to end the show.
Well, that's kind of like Q did the same sort of thing. What do you do with the BA in English?
Yeah.
That's their song. I mean, so he wrote a show. What do? You write a show.
Yeah. So, in some regards, I think that much of Shakespeare's comedies that I've been exposed to are really they are much ado about nothing.
Yes. There you go.
Right? They're Saturday Night Live sketches, but they last for 2 hours.
Yeah.
As opposed to Saturday Night Live sketches that last for 8 minutes, but it feels like 2 hours when they should have been 2 minutes.
Yeah.
More interesting things happen in Shakespeare.
Weirdly, though, he definitely repeats.
Yes.
From show to show?
And internally within the show.
Okay.
This is the theme, just to remind you, this is the theme, just to remind you, these are the conflicts within that theme, and by the way, this is still the theme.
Don't forget these men are inconstant.
Yeah.
Not incontinent.
Oh, no,
inconstant.
That was definitely a rehearsal flub. I can throw out there. Yeah. I will not be put out of count continents.
What changes with Shakespeare is, like our show, for example, we're playing with gender issues, right? So we have the parson Nathaniel, who is a religious character, who in Shakespeare's day would have been probably played as a religious character, a ridiculous one, a buffoon, but still a religious character. But now, because of the time period in which we play with that he is in love with Holofernes, right? Yep. Secretly in love with Holofernes. So those things change from decade to decade as society changes, or from culture to culture as we're working within different cultures. And that, I think, is really interesting.
Yeah.
It's great that the vehicle can carry so many different messages simultaneously.
Yes.
Yeah.
And we're not beating anyone over the head with whatever social warrior thoughts or this is how society ought to be, or any of that. We're just presenting like a good satire almost. Like, this is society. What do you think? Right?
Yeah.
Yeah. I hope you find the whimsy we did.
Well, and that is great. and I think the whimsy is it. It's like, this is me poking fun at people today. Mm-hmm. And now, 500-ish years later, this is me poking fun at today's version of that day's people.
Yeah.
But like 500 years later.
Yeah.
And the story still carries.
Yeah.
The language gets...
It's pretty amazing.
The language remarkably carries quite well, although some of it could be getting lost more than it has been.
Like, some of the language use is unfortunately lost.
Yeah.
Like, what did they mean when they said it at that time?
It's like, for people being born now, they're going to have a clue about rotary phones, right?
Yeah.
Not a clue. The technology changes to the point that any jokes that might be made about rotary phones in plays in the past are going to be completely beyond them, because they won't have any understanding of it. And even if they learn to understand it, and they decide not to cut that from a play that they're doing, they're going to have to somehow help their audience understand it, who doesn't understand it. So, you know, that kind of thing.
Any show and his horn book.
Yeah, exactly.
Right? Which teacher is called pedant? Which teacher still carries the horn book?
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
Or extending your telephone example, how many shows require you to be near the telephone when it rings?
Yeah.
Yeah.
As opposed to having it in your pocket.
Yes. Yes.
Like, just that those simple little things make all the difference.
Yes, they do. So, yeah.
That's neat. How to pull your piece out of time so that it becomes timeless. Not as important as you think.
Yep.
Right? Like, I don't think Shakespeare sat there and thought, oh, I shouldn't include this note about the horn book, because we didn't have that until 20 years ago, and it'll be gone in another 40. Nope. He writes about, and then it choose to use or not. Right?
Yes. Yeah. So we did cut passages that were, like, I cut out passages that were just too thick with contemporary at that time references that would not, like, how do we do that? And we also have to make it shorter. So, sorry, they're gone.
Well, the play is 24 hours long.
Yeah, sorry.
Oh, sorry. The story is 24 hours long. The play is much shorter than
an hour and 45 minutes. I recommend coming out.
Yeah, please do.
Avoiding the noise that is street wheelers.
Yay! That'll be a good choice, I think.
It succeeded well last year for us. We don't love that.
Yeah. Well, and you also have a bit of a back shell there too.
Yes.
Which is nice.
The bandstand there is. I like the more outdoorsy it feels.
Yes.
Now we talk about the Nanton show coming up, the Coots property, and I liked it before. They didn't have that barn, and they didn't have that little pagoda area over the cobblestone in the corner, and we used to play in the cobblestones in the corner. So bushes are your backdrop, and skies above that, and there you go. It was the most in the park feeling to me. I don't hate this barn thing. It's just I want everyone to have that experience I had on that cobblestone place. Right? Yeah. That's what I would love.
They call you Jeff the Cobblestone Actor. No.
One goat. Yeah. Dirty jokes. So we got about a minute left in our day. And so I really want to thank you for coming, taking time out of your extra busy schedule stealing your recuperation time, because there's an effort to mounting a show, and it only just went up on Thursday.
Yep.
So it'll be a couple.
And
weeks.
if you haven't seen these first two performances, find another one. There's more this summer. They are mostly Thursdays.
They are Thursdays and
Fridays in various
town.
places.
And a Saturday and a Sunday out of town. So if you're in High River on the 26th, or if you are 19th, no, 20, yes, 19th. I think it's the 19th or the 18th or something like that we are in Nanton.
Yeah.
And we close on August the 8th.
Close on August the 8th. So
which is nice.
you have much of July to see it, and a tiny bit of August. I highly recommend it. I am not in the show, so that's another thing to recommend it.
I recommend it too, but I'm in it, so.
Yeah. Thank you again for being here.
Oh,
And do you have any
pleasure.
final thoughts for us?
No, thank you for doing this. What a lovely time I've had. It's been great. Yeah.
That's great.
And tell all your friends.
And
Tell a
hello
whole
to
bunch.
Italy.
Oh, hello, Italy.
SH101, we love you guys.
Yeah. All right. So I think that about wraps us up for today.